Okay, it's an afternoon this side. Good afternoon, and my name is Robinah, and I want to talk about sickle cell disease, preferably in pregnancy. So sickle cell disease is an inherited disorder which is characterized by an ineffective hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is that protein in a red blood cells that carries oxygen in tissues of the body. So a heme is that protein which is attached to a red blood cell, and its aim is to attract oxygen. It is an oxygen receptor, and it will help to re-oxygenate the blood, and then blood is carried out through the body. So this time we are talking of an ineffective heme, a defective heme. So we are saying that a normal hemoglobin cell is smooth, it is round, and it is flexed. So it can move through vessels throughout the body very easily. But a sickle cell hemoglobin is stiff and it is sticky. And when you look at it, it forms a shape of a sickle when it loses oxygen. These cells tend to cluster together and cannot move easily through blood vessels. And the clustering, which occurs when the cell loses heme, it causes the blockage and it stops the movement of the healthy, normal, oxygen-carrying blood. This blockage usually is what causes the pain and damaging complication in a sickle cell disease. So sickle cells only live for about 10 to 20 days, whereas the normal hemoglobin lives up to around 120 days. So it means that sickle cells have very short lifespan, and they will be dying out more frequently as compared to the normal red blood cell. So due to a reduced number of hemoglobin cells circulating in the body, a person with sickle cell is chronically anemic. The spleen also suffers damage from the sickled cells, blocking healthy oxygen-carrying cells. So without normal functioning of the spleen, these individuals are at risk of infections. So what happens is that if a person is having sickle cells, her or his cells, the red blood cells, will be continually getting broken down in only around 10 to 20 days. So meaning this breakage continually makes the person anemic. And that is why these people chronically live anemic, because their red blood cells do not live to their lifespan of around 120 days of a normal red blood cell. So we are saying that even these red blood cells, the sickled, which die and who become sickled, they block the blood, the healthy oxygen-carrying cells, which may travel to the spleen and also which may travel to the liver. So this person's immune system is usually low, and that is why they are very chronic to infections. If you look at this picture, the first picture above shows a normal red blood cell. And we've said that this normal red blood cell is flexible. So if this is a main blood vessels having branches of it, this normal red blood cell will be very flexible, and it will enter smaller blood vessels, and then blood will continue to flow through all the blood vessels. But when this cell becomes sickled, it forms a sickle shape. And on this sickle shape, like if blood is moving to the peripherals, these sickle cells will cling together, and at the end of the day they will block the vessel. Therefore, blood may be unable to move to the next step. So that is how sickle cells is. And how is it caused? Sickle cell anemia, first of all, it is an inherited condition as an autosomal. It means that the gene is not linked to a sex chromosome. So this autosomal gene, which is sickled, can be linked, is independent. It is not linked to any sex chromosome. And this means that the gene has to be passed from a parent carrying it to male or female children, so it can go to any of the sexes, either a male child or a female child, because it is not linked to sex. In order for sickle cell anemia to occur, a sickle cell gene must be inherited from both the mother and the father, so that the child has two sickle genes. The inheritance of just one sickle gene is called a sickle cell trait, or the person is called a carrier. So sickle cell trait does not cause any sickle cell anemia, meaning that if you have this inherited autosomal recessive gene, it is going to be inherited from either parent, and it can go to any sex of their offspring, either male or female. But for the child to be a sickler, this child must inherit these genes from both the mother and the father to get a double recessive gene. And this child is having a double recessive gene. But if he got one gene from either of the parent, and got only one, it means this child is a sickler, or is having a sickle cell trait. And these people who are called, if this person inherits only one from any of the parents, so this person is not a sickler. This person is a carrier. And we are saying a carrier does not have sickle cell anemia, but has a trait, which trait can be passed on to the next generation through her offspring. And we believe that a person to be born with sickle cell disease, a person will be born with a sickle cell disease if only two HBS genes are inherited from the mother and one from the father. And a person with only one HBS, one recessive gene, is healthy and said to be a carrier of the disease. But being a carrier of the disease, it means you are having a sickle cell trait.